I would love to start this session with a question, if everybody is okay with answering it. You absolutely do not have to turn on your microphone or like, just be vocal about it. I just would like to ask how many of you signed up for this because you wanted to, and how many of you think you're here by chance? This is a really important question. It's completely fine if you're in either of the categories, but I would love for those who are here by chance to just raise a hand.
Well, there's no pre-registration for these workshops, so I guess the question is, did you come here, as a special choice?
Right. Or are you just here by chance, just wanted to explore this? I would love it if everybody could just give me their answers in the chat box or raise your hands. Are you here just by chance, just to explore it? Or right. Thanks for the answers coming in to the chat box. Right, lovely. That's really good to know. It's really good to know that some of you have wanted to join this by choice and to learn something new. But those of you who are here without any idea or without any prior expectation, I just want everybody to know that all of us, given at this point, wherever we are, we're here by divine coincidence. And by that, I do not mean some kind of weird magic or something that has anything to do with any detailed or complex manifestation. We are here because this is where we need to be right at this very moment. This is my message before starting the session. Now, this session is going to be deeply implemented into my work and my research of storytelling, which is experiential storytelling mingled with spirituality. So I practice spirituality in through very esoteric and personal methods. I'm not inclined too much towards any religion, but I love to learn from religious studies and practices and see what it is that people think about stoicism that we can learn from. Like, many people would comment on my methods, and many people would tell me, "Oh, you're acting really stoic," but I don't know if that's really true, because stoicism varies from one person to another person. And I do not believe in stoicism as something rigid or something that you have to take a lesson from. So even if it is that at the end of this session, you have no quid pro quo or you have no immediate takeaway, I assure you that 20 minutes, 20 hours, 20 days down the line, you would know what has happened to you. And that is what happens to us in life. We don't know what's happening to us right now until and unless sometime down the lane we realize, okay, this is the consequence of this is the divine coincidence that has been happening to me. So without further ado, Eric, do you want me to share my screen, or would you like to share the presentation that I had sent you? Right, perfect. Could you please turn the view to full screen? I think it would be more immersive for us.
That I cannot do. So I'm going to stop share and I'm going to make you co-host.
Right.
You can do it.
No problem. Okay. Just take a moment to get it ready and I'll start sharing the screen.
Go ahead. You're a co-host. Oh, no, I made the wrong person co-host. Just a moment. Okay, now you are co-host.
Perfect. Please let me know if everybody can see my screen. Just a thumbs up would do fine if you can see my screen. Right. Just a minute. Really sorry for that happening, but I first need to start presenting. Right. It's always the technology that messes with us and just kills the vibration. That's exactly why I love doing things in a more formal way. Right. So is the entire screen visible, or can you see your faces as well? Just let me know if the entire title of the presentation is visible. Right. So my session would be, I wouldn't say governed or really rigid around this person, but it has a lot to do with his studies and his findings. This is Padmasambhava, the Buddhist master who brought Buddhism to Tibet and who, through his methods of mysticism, ritualistic storytelling, and his own spiritual practices, introduced Tantra as an incorporatable object into Buddhism. Before him, Buddhism was not so much about Tantra and did not have as much fluidity in terms of practices. It only had the greater vehicle and then the lesser vehicle. But when Padmasambhava introduced Tantra, he introduced ways of life that can help you attain enlightenment. And that enlightenment is not objective, it is extremely subjective, and it can happen from experience to experience. Now, our first exercise would be reading a part of his scripture or his sermon that he delivered to his own subjects. And it's really important to keep in mind how we need to absorb this or how we would like to react to this. I know it's not possible to always be mindful of what thoughts we are getting while we're hearing something, but what I need you to do is be completely open, completely accepting of the words that are being said. Think whatever you want to think with each word that is being presented to your ears. Let it come to your mind, anything that wants to. With each verse, imagine the sound, only the sound, not whose voice it is, if it's a female voice, if it's a male voice. Do not think of it as a distinguishing capability. Think of it only as a sound that is blooming in your ears. Imagine the simple wisdom in each flower, in each sound, in each word that is being spoken, and what it means when all of it is in linearity. Have I been simple to understand? If so, please give a thumbs up. If not, if you need me to answer any questions, please ask me. It would really help if you could turn on your mic and ask me because I cannot access the chat box.
That was clear, Sristi.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll get on to reading a sermon. This sermon is a part of his oral advice to his own disciple, and his female disciples who could attain enlightenment simultaneously with him were called the Dakinis, and this is his advice to Dakini Yeshe Sogyal, who is also the co-writer of the book I'm reading from. I would also be giving you reference for the book that I'm using. Resolve to emulate the deeds of all the sublime and noble-minded forefathers and follow the example of the holy beings. Take the gurus, yidams, dakinis, and dharma protectors as witness to your vows, and observe your vows carefully with good conscience. Use yourself as the yardstick of patience. Don't hurt or inflict harm upon others. Whatever you do, never depart from what is meaningful, but turn your thoughts, words, and deeds toward the Dharma. Don't criticize others. Instead, oppose your own faults to the world. Help faithful people to enter the Dharma in whichever way is suitable by means of teaching the expedient or definitive meaning. All types of impermanence, such as death or separation, are messages to you. So pay heed. Don't busy yourself with many distracting activities, but relax your body and mind. I would encourage everybody at this point to take a deep breath, count to 3, and release it with your mouth. Don't busy yourself with many distracting activities, but relax your body and your mind. Practice by applying the profound instructions to your own state of mind. When your mind is filled with dread, don't be hostile to obstructing spirits. Even for the sake of a kingdom, don't cause harm to other beings. Since the time of death lies uncertain, capture the stronghold of the nature of your mind. Since you don't know what is needed in this life, study all the topics of knowledge. No matter what learning you gain, conceit gives foothold to the demon of disaster. So humble your pride. Until you attain realization, through meditation training, don't brag or act in crude ways. Cast away prejudice and partisanship, since they are the chains of samsara. Don't be hypocritical or pretentious, because that is scorned and despised by all wise people. Don't remain amidst ordinary people. Evil behavior naturally contaminates. Don't place your trust in any conditioned phenomena. Do not place your trust in any conditioned phenomena. Everything is a magical apparition. Everything is a magical apparition. Gain certainty in your own mind. The awakened state is not elsewhere. Gain certainty in your own mind. The awakened state is not elsewhere. Gain certainty in your own mind. The awakened state is not elsewhere. Would anybody like me to read through once again? If not, then I would love to move on to the next part of this activity.
Please go on.
If there is anybody who wants me to repeat any part of the sermon or wants me to go through the sermon all over again, please let me know. It's completely fine and I can do that. If not, then let's move on to the next part of the exercise. Through the sermon that we have heard, we have captured a lot of ideas that are independent and unique of our own mind. This can be contrasting ideas. We can hold any sort of opposition or contrast or conflict or argument towards the things that we have heard right now. And it's completely fine if you do not agree with the sermon or if you have something that's not really coherent to the sermon. Everything is completely fine. But I want you to think about it. Whatever the sermon has told you, whatever it means to you, whatever it doesn't mean to you, whatever whatever meaning it doesn't hold for you, I want you to think about it for some time. Please feel free to note it down. Whatever you've heard from the sermon, you can note it down if it means anything to you, if it means anything to what you practice, or if it in any way it has offended you, or in fact opposed to your ideals. You can write it down, or if it's in your mind, it's completely fine. In his sermon, the Master Padmasambhava has used some key phrases to identify their individual purpose of telling or writing or living a story. He's told us that everything is a magical apparition. So it has to do a lot with our ideas, our imagination, and how we live life and how we imagine life. Now, each participant will be encouraged to pick at least 3 relatable phrases or 3 relatable ideas that you have picked up from this sermon. Anything that's relatable. Relatable in the sense, if you want to oppose it, you may oppose it. If you want to take it to your heart, you may take it to your heart. If you want to argue with it, or if you want to develop any certain idea out of it, please do it. But please pick out 3 relatable phrases from this sermon that you've just heard. We'll be giving everybody the time that they need to do this. Any of you can please give me a heads up once you've picked, noted down the 3 relatable phrases or 3 relatable ideas. everybody done taking their notes? It's completely fine if you need more time. I'll just give you 2 more minutes to do. To Is everyone taking notes? If you have taken your notes, I would really like you to understand or identify the purpose that storytelling has in your life, in whatever ways, in however briefly your encounter has been with any sort of form of storytelling. You could please identify the relation of these ideas with the purpose of storytelling. You may be opposed to it, you may be coherent to it, you may absolutely be aloof to it. It's completely fine. But you please point out if the purpose of storytelling in your life shares any form of similarity, dissimilarity, contrast, or variety with the ideas that you have jotted down. Pardon me if I shouldn't assume that everything's done, but a bit of this exercise, I would require Eric for to help me with creating breakout rooms. Here's what we will be doing in breakout rooms. Each breakout room will last for 3 minutes. And what we will,
I'm sorry, Srishti, did you say you want breakout rooms?
yes, not right now. I'm explaining what we will be doing in the breakout rooms
Okay.
and what's the time period of each breakout room. So each breakout room will last for 3 minutes. All the members in the breakout room will have to exchange the common phrases, ideas, or sense of purpose of storytelling that they have identified through the exercise before this, and collectively come up with at least five or more common phrases that root the stories they choose to tell with their personal sense of purpose. So in each breakout room, you will first be exchanging the value or the idea that you have picked up from the sermon. And after that, you would be collectively coming up with five or more. At least five would be okay. If not, then it's completely fine. If it's less than five, it's completely fine. If it's more than five. collectively coming up with these common ideas or phrases that you have chosen. It does not hold ground to what opinion you have of them, but you have to come up with these five or less or more common ideas that you have identified within yourself that you relate with storytelling. Again, the relation does not have to be completely of agreement, completely of adherence, it can be opposing, anything. But any five common phrases that all of you have identified. Are we clear? Because we will be going into breakout rooms. Eric, is it okay if I stay in the main room? Because
Well, at this point, I suggest you come off of screen share.
Right, no,
Because
right.
we only have a few people with their cameras on. And generally we only put people in breakout rooms if they have their cameras on. So let's assess the situation.
Right, that's completely fine if it's going to help if I stop sharing my screen. But it's fine. I would really love for everybody to take part in this activity, even if through the chat box. But I would really love for everybody to be in the breakout rooms for 3 minutes and discuss the common phrases that you have identified.
Well, okay, there are 9 people in this session. 3 people have their cameras off. Those 3 people, I hesitate to put them in a breakout room because they may be in the kitchen or not in a space to communicate.
Right, that's
So
fine.
if you and I are not going into breakout rooms, what we have is 4 other people. So I guess they would be going into two groups of 2. Is that what
Right,
you
right.
want?
That's completely fine.
Okay.
But are we clear with the exercise, what we have to do? Or do you have a question? If you have any questions, you can ask and I will guide you through it.
Some time ago, you invited people to think about a few different words relating to storytelling. Was that the assignment?
Yes, the assignment was to identify the relation between their purpose of storytelling and the 3 ideas that they have picked out from the sermon that they have listened to.
Okay, well, I'm not sure that people have done those 2 things.
I saw I saw a lot of people taking notes. So if you're not done taking notes, it's completely fine. Please let me know if in the chat box if it's okay for us to put you in the breakout rooms right now.
Well, by virtue of people having their camera on, that's a signal that they're willing to go into a breakout room. Uh-oh, we lost one person. Oh, we've got a person back.
Might have been in that one. But right, I think it's okay if nobody has a problem with the exercise that's been discussed, and then we can put them into breakout rooms.
Okay, shall we do it now?
Right.
Okay,
Each breakout room should last for 3 minutes.
Okay, just a moment. Okay, we ready to go? Yes, shall we invite them to go?
I would say it's yes from me, but yeah.
Okay, here we go.
I suppose they've all joined.
Marlene's has not gone yet. Let me try to do something. Oh, yes, now she's gone. There we go. Okay.
Right. I actually saw a lot of people trying to come and join the meeting, but the problem with that would be that they wouldn't have been oriented into the entire process. So I just removed them. I mean, I didn't admit them. I didn't really remove them, but I didn't admit them because, like, they would come halfway and not be oriented into what.
Oh, so you don't want to admit anyone else now?
No, because that wouldn't really help them in any sort of way because
Okay.
it's all activities are related.
Well, if they want to just come and listen, I think there's no harm with the camera off, because if we start rejecting people, then they'll get confused and they won't try to come in again.
Right,
So,
that's
so
true.
let's,
But then when we're putting them into breakout rooms,
if their camera is turned off, we are not putting them into breakout rooms.
I've as far as now I've only asked one person. I've only not responded to one person. So I guess if anybody wants to join, we can admit them then.
Okay.
I usually do these things one on one or like really in a very intimate space and not online. But the reason I wanted to do this online is you don't reach out to people through various platforms. People would never know what you're doing and how it can impact their lives.
Here, I'm going to pause the.
Hi everyone. I hope it was a good session that you exchanged between each other. Uh, I'm sorry if the time wasn't enough, but we would actually be going into a lapse of relaxation in between activities, and this is going to be a guided meditation that would go on for about a minute and a half or 2 minutes maximum. So if you are in a position where you might not be able to stay still for 2 minutes, it's completely fine. It's you can put your cameras off if that's a possibility. If not, then I would really love for everybody to just close your eyes and follow my voice. Please close your eyes, sit straight, or in any position that you are, please sit straight, be straight, relax your body, close your eyes, listen to my voice. You're collectively going to chant a sound of meditation that is true to each soul in this present phenomenon, in this present circumstance, in this present environment. It's known to every soul. This is the only sound that is known to every soul. Even those who cannot hear, even those who cannot speak. Because this is a vibration that reaches to every soul. When the day breaks, this is the first thing that runs through us. We know we are alive. Please take a deep breath. Take it for as long as you want to. Want us to chant sound of the hum. Please begin. Follow the pitch that I am following. Relax your mind, relax your body. Think about everything, anything, or nothing. Whatever comes to your mind, let it come. Let it pass, let it sit with you, or let it just exchange a glance. But be open. Open all of your senses. If you wish to count, you can count. But what's important is for you to follow the sound, the vibration, sound of the soul, and follow my pitch. Let us begin. Mm, take a deep breath. Hold your palms in towards your chest. We have been connected by the same sound that we were focusing. It was not. It was nothing earthly. Each one of us is capable of producing it, and it is extremely magical what it does to us in terms of grounding and in terms of thought, in terms of acceptance. Each one of us has heard the same thing. Each one of us has received the same thing. Each one of us has accepted the same thing. No matter what visions have come to us, what we have thought, or what we have stand connected together. Now, 10 minutes from now, 10 hours from now, 10 days, 10 decades, and 10 beyond, and 5 years old. This idea, this very thought, this very truth gives a sense of oneness, and it cleanses us of all judgment, all bias, or of all opposition. Even if for a very brief minute, it forces us to understand, it urges us, it gives us the energy that we need to go out into the world or go in ourselves. Look back at the years, look back at the days that passed, and to face it, to accept it as truth and not as fate. Fate breaks resilience, breaks the idea that we are capable of becoming or evolving. Truth is accepting it as it is. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I will be sharing this once again. Please let me know if you see it. The next exercise is about understanding our own habits, our own purpose. May it be about storytelling, may it not be about storytelling. Lead our life, or it can just be how we speak, how we express ourselves, or how we choose not to express our true selves. We all that we start to paint our faces, tarnish whoever we are from the inside. That's completely acceptable. It is truth. It happens to each one of us. So this entire exercise is about understanding the habits that we have, that we show, and also understanding the habits and the purpose of the things that we don't show. Participants can either draw or free write in relation to any one key phrase that stands out to them or forms a sense of virtue. Remember the relations that we picked out in terms of the phrases that we identified in the sermon. Pick out any key phrase that you found distinguishing that you find has made an impact on you. Pick out any one of the key phrases that you have noted down. Anything that has made even a little bit of impact than the other things have. We will take the next 5 to 6 minutes to come up with any sort of right. Malini, please ask the question.
Hello. Thank you for what you're doing here. Actually, I want to understand very much, and I was only able to join late, so I missed the sermon. And I'm wondering if it's possible that participants could share their particular phrase or something that they thought was meaningful to them. I actually live in Himachal Pradesh in a Guru Rinpoche place where Guru Rinpoche lived and practiced with Princess Mandarava for years and years, called Rewalsar. So I very much wanted to see what you're doing, but I missed the sermon. So I'm asking if people could share a little bit of what they remember, what was meaningful to them. This would help me.
Okay, so I'm pretty much aware that you know about this sermon. I'll
Okay.
just tell you what I was reading from.
Thank you. Then I can find it.
Right. So I'm not sure if you're reading from his scripture or a translated version,
Mhm.
but right, just a moment. I was reading from his advices on how to practice Dharma that he
Okay.
had given to.
Yeshe Sogyo or somebody?
I don't think this was given to Yeshe Sokya. This book is on primarily the devices that he gave to Yeshe Sokya, but I think this was noted down by some other disciple. But the sermon starts with the mantra Namo Guru Deva Dakini Pung. So if it helps you understand which part it is from.
Yes, thank you so much. And it seems to me Vibha was explaining that when we went into the breakout rooms, that basically it's about using wisdom and compassion and connecting this to our storytelling experience in order not to harm any beings, but to bring them closer to this truth of inner freedom, if I got it correctly.
So it's absolutely not just what the sermon, like what I asked everybody to take away from the sermon. It's Vibha's own reflection of what she carried from the sermon.
Okay.
So if you want me to read the sermon again and would like to take your own reflection off of it, I can do it.
I don't want to take up the time, but even just a little screen, like a little picture or something or a link, that would be enough. I can follow from here. Thank you.
I think I might have to type it. I'm actually reading from my book, so it's actually easier if I repeated the sermon again. And I think
if everybody's okay with this, since it seems people didn't know they could take notes or they were supposed
Yes, that would be great if you repeated the sermon again. I'd really like that.
Thank you.
That's the same with
Sure.
everybody else.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it would also help everybody to again reflect on their takeaways.
Thank you so much.
Malini, I would request you to do one thing.
Mm.
Since you're in the place of virtue where we're very much the glimpse of the window that's behind you. If it's possible for you to just close your hands and pray for us for a couple of minutes and send your blessings, it would really mean a lot.
I think I can do something. This is a consecrated statue of Guru Rinpoche from here by a Lama or teacher who lived here for many years and who built many temples and was a specialist in building statues and stupas and temples. And this is Indian Princess Mandarava, also consecrated by the same teacher. here in this town, and one can still visit the caves where they practice and they lived.
Right. And where
and
he
they
left his imprint.
Yes.
Have you
So,
touched them? Have you touched them?
oh yes, I have been there. I live here since 2019, and my spiritual guru lives here also. So I came to India as a Waldorf teacher to receive more training and offer training, and also to follow this path. So I'm very grateful for what you're doing and wanted to know more. So thank you. If you can read and we can all benefit, that's
Right.
lovely, and we will pray.
Absolutely. Resolve to emulate the deeds of all the sublime and noble-minded forefathers and follow the example of the holy beings. Take the Gurus, Yidams, Dakinis, and Dharma protectors as witness to your vows and observe your vows carefully with good conscience. Use yourself as the yardstick of patience and don't hurt or inflict harm upon others. Whatever you do, never depart from what is meaningful, but turn your thoughts, words, and deeds toward the Dharma. Don't criticize others. Instead, oppose your own faults to the world. Help faithful people to enter the Dharma in whichever way is suitable by means of teaching the expedient or definitive meaning. All types of impermanence, such as death or separation, are messages to you. So pay heed. Don't busy yourself with many distracting activities, but relax your body and mind. Do not busy yourself with many distracting activities, but relax your body and your mind. Practice by applying the profound instructions to your own state of mind. Since the time of death lies uncertain, capture the stronghold of the nature of the mind. Seek a qualified master. Always venerate him at the crown of your head and develop the yearning of faith and devotion. Since you don't know what is needed in this life, study all the topics of knowledge. Always keep in mind that until you attain realization through meditation training, do not brag or act in crude ways. Cast away prejudice and partisanship, since they are the chains of samsara. Don't be hypocritical or pretentious, because that is scorned and despised by all wise people. Don't remain amidst ordinary people. Evil behavior naturally contaminates. Don't place your trust in any conditioned phenomena. Everything is a magical apparition. Everything is a magical apparition. Gain certainty in your own mind. Gain certainty in your own mind. The awakened state is not elsewhere. The awakened state is not elsewhere. Gain certainty in your own mind. The awakened state is not elsewhere. That was a sermon that I read from in the beginning of the session. So since you were already I'm pretty sure you're already updated to the entire sermon, you would have the ideas that pertain to it. So I suppose you have jotted down your takeaway from it, from the sermon. So this time of the activity, we are going to take 5 to 6 minutes of journaling. This journaling can be of any format. You can write, you can be poetic with it. You can draw. You can do a freehand drawing, a sketch, a symbol, anything that comes to mind, or you can just free write about it on one key phrase that you have taken away from the sermon. If you want to argue about it, oppose it, that's actually even better. That's how you learn what is the true state or nature of your own mind, what your ideas truly reflect. Take your time to do it. You can write about it, you can draw it, you can draw in opposition, you can go all crazy you want to, but take the time to reflect upon that one key phrase. Jot down any symbol, jot down any word, jot down any incident from your life or anything that it makes you want to write about it. Are we done? Right. So, ready? So would you all of you comfortable with sharing uh, what like sharing this discussion on mic? If not, type in your thoughts in the chat box. So the next part of this activity engage us in discussing three main aspects of the sermon. And before that, I want each one of us to understand the accepting of the fact that we as individuals do not share, may or may not share the same habits. We can be distinguished from one another through our contrasts, through our ways of life, through the habits we have, through what we feel attached to and what we feel detached from. And going into this, I would really like for every one of us to share at least one key idea of virtue or one feeling of a virtue that you can derive from what you have just noted down. From anything of that picture or any sentence in your free write or anything from your symbol that you think gives you virtue, makes you truly virtuous to yourself. It's going to be an element that does not go hand in hand with the sermon, that opposes the sermon. That's completely fine. Your independent thought, your freedom of ideas is what gives you the power to. So if everybody could just go around the room sharing one thing from what you have noted down that gives you a sense of virtue, it would be great. Anybody who would like to go first?
Okay, I would like to go.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
It's like the current slide that you have projected over here, discovering oneness and serendipity. Oh, attending this workshop that has been the kindness of Eric, uh, we are finding that oneness. Each of us has a kind of passion towards storytelling. If I'm not a storyteller, at least that love for storytelling. And in your sermon that you read out, you said, use yourself as a yardstick. Do not criticize others. Be truthful, and that truthful need to be truthful for yourself. And when you ended, that was wonderful. Like everything is a magical apparition. Awakening state is not somewhere else, but it is within you. So in this context, all stories for that matter, it should take us to discover ourselves. All kind of stories that we love, like the parables and the fables that we have grown up learning, reading and listening from others. It shows a self of ourselves. We should be going within to discover ourselves. Like while talking with my partner in that breakout from Manjari, I said that three B's that we have talked about, and we inherit from our mother's womb. Once we come out, we have this body, we have the breath, and of course the brain. I call it three B's, brain that helps us to think, to discern, and we carry this three till we exit from this world. So from mother's womb to mother earth's womb, the journey of our life, it's a kind of discovery of ourselves. The discovery of oneness, like we all are related to each other somewhere or the other. And maybe when you discover yourself going within, will get that serendipitous moment that we are all waiting for. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your idea of virtue in storytelling, your idea of virtue in this lifetime. What is true? What is permanent of this life? And what are the things, impermanent things that we may or may not find attachment to? Who would like to go next? Today, Vibha, Malini.
I'll go next. What I got was what stood out from the sermon for me was never depart from what is meaningful and keep true to yourself and to what is meaningful in your life and enjoy everything's magical, it's mystical and it's magical at the same time. So and what's connected to my storytelling is that I try to keep true to myself. I try to choose stories that are meaningful to me and that I feel that might be meaningful to other people, and impart wisdom. I think that's what I try to be true to myself when I choose my stories that I want to tell. That's about it. Yeah.
So, is there anything, certainly, I wouldn't say typical, but anything that stands out to you in terms of an innate virtue? Do you find anything in your own storytelling that gives you virtue, adds meaning to your days, or adds meaning to your self-discovery? Any element?
I mean, I would say searching for wisdom. Like I'm a seeker, so it's searching for wisdom, and that's a true element in all my stories.
Right. Does make sense. Who would like to go? Manjari?
I can go.
Yeah,
I
sure,
can go
sure.
next or Manji. Okay.
Anybody is free to go. Anybody who thinks they're ready to share, please share. Sure. Go on.
So what I did was I drew a mandala, and in that I in the outer circle I drew lotuses, and inside I made 4 sections. So as we know that there are 4 stages of life. So the first is the brahmacharya, so I drew children. Then second I drew householders or grahastha that period where you have children and you go about doing your duty as a householder. Then third section I drew vanasprastha, that is your beyond all that you have fulfilled your duties and you're seeking some kind of you're trying to discover yourself and the world around you. And the last I drew that you are now beyond that and you're going towards God, and so I've drawn mountains over there, that you are now seeking some sort of you want to go closer to God, that kind of a thing, and you want to be at peace. And I have drawn these lotuses which signify that as you progress through life, even if there is just as lotuses grows in a pond and they can be waters can be muddy, the lotus remains pure and beautiful. I feel that your journey should remain the same throughout your life, and your stories also should reflect that.
That is a wonderfully wholesome takeaway, I would say. Uh, but yeah, I would go on with something that I have in my mind. I have to share that it pertains to my part of the activity. But before that, Marlene, I would have to hear your takeaway on the virtue ideas that you.
Yes, I mean, thank you to all. And what Manjiri was saying is really beautiful because, actually, Guru Rinpoche is known in India as lotus born, right? Padma Sambhava.
Padmakara, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so it's this idea that we can be in the world and not of the world. We can fully embrace the world and yet remain in our primordial nature, remain in our nature of mind, which is pure, pristine, free from all stain. And through habits, we have been maybe building layers around it so that now we cannot get to it. So that is the inherent virtue that leads me to that more innate virtue is this knowingness, what Manjiri was also saying, and Vibha was pointing to, and Manoj also was this seeking of this wisdom, which is already within us. And as a thread, this, I think, connects me to all beings, because no matter how many lifetimes and how many layers of habit and distraction and so on and karmic imprints, we somehow know there is something more to us. And this is what from the sermon that you were reading was this gaining certainty in one's nature of mind, right, in one's primordial nature, then applying the teachings in this life fully, and then serving others, helping others who have the same question, and bringing them to this dharma, to this truth that is a part of us. So in my storytelling, this is what I always look for. I mean, I've been teaching in Waldorf schools for over 20 years. So this is like the constant guide is how can this story awaken us to what we truly are, this primordial nature. And in that, I think I'm connected to many storytellers and many beings everywhere. And so thank you for bringing that. And I just, I wrote a poem, beautiful, inspired by your sharing of these teachings, and very grateful because these feelings of devotion, which even Rudolf Steiner called the love for all beings, like this devotion to the truth, devotion for all beings, for all phenomena, is like this constant path that can be used in every story, in every action, every thought, every word. If guided by that, by this pure motivation, will be beneficial for everyone. So that's what I noticed. But yeah, thank you. I look forward to hearing what you have to say, and thank you to Eric Miller for providing this opportunity.
Eric, do you have anything to add? I'm sure he's got many thanks over many years for bringing everybody together. Would you like to read your poem, Marlene? Because everybody has shared what they've done.
Yes, sure. I can, absolutely, yes. So this, in this poem, I'm speaking with Guru Rinpoche, right? Or whoever, or maybe even our primordial nature as well. And so, O teacher of teachers, I pay homage to you. Traveling to this realm from far away, subtle worlds, I enter the physical sphere. Wonder, amazement, and joy, quickly followed by the force of habit, distraction, and forgetfulness. This dense body with its devouring needs and cravings, and the ceaseless arising of the magical display of worlds. Take me away from my primordial nature. I dream that I dream, sinking into a slumber that seems permanent. O teacher of teachers, your words bring me back home, from where I had wandered for countless lifetimes. Beholding my own nature of mind, the jewel of jewels is revealed. To remain established in this inner knowing, yet living fully and endeavoring to serve others on the path of remembrance, shall be my embraced task for numberless eons, until all beings and phenomena realize this inherent primordial wisdom. On the roads of compassion, love, and devotion, we shall purposely travel, enjoying each other's company as we return from our cosmic sleep. O teacher of teachers, thoroughly bless me, thoroughly bless us all. May your love and devotion to beings be mirrored in our heart minds and never decrease, but grow forevermore.
That is a beautiful incantation. I would actually call it an incantation rather than poetry. Poetry has a lot of interpretation angles, but this was truly beautifully shared. What I would like to talk about is the fact that somewhere in the end of the sermon it's mentioned, don't remain amidst ordinary. So there are a couple of instances where we would like to regain our faith in the ordinary. We would like to think that so oneness in its true form, it's not escaping the ordinary. It's about accepting the ordinary, that the ordinary exists. And the statement, to me personally, I'm not sure, many people do practice being detached from the ordinary in physicality. But what ordinary means is that not constricting yourself to norms. So I suppose in storytelling, it's really radical to think that I am not constricted to any norms. I will speak the truth. And speaking the truth can often lead us astray out of the ordinary. But that does not mean that we are not aligned. It is quite obvious that at times when we are so aligned in ourselves that we're absolutely distraught and disoriented from engaging with any normatic life or any ordinary way of life, which constitutes of emotions and feelings which arise from the fear of consequences. There are three elements mentioned in the sermon, which is the Dharma, the Master, and profoundness. Now, I want all of us to discuss the nature of these three things. So, Dharma in Buddhist values is the practice in itself, the practice of attaining liberation through truth. Maybe it's Mahayana, Hinayana, Vajrayana, it does not matter what path you're following. What matters is that you're still following. You're not detaching yourself from the streamline of attaining the wisdomhood. True enlightenment comes from us practicing our craft, whatever we're good at. What I want us to do is on the lines of Dharma, I want us to come and discuss together what practice means to us. What are we practicing? Do we have a goal in mind? Are we objective about our practices of the art or even in general in our ways of life? Are we objective about it, or do we really truly look forward to it in terms of the true nature of the enlightenment that it is capable of providing us with? Anybody who would like to go first?
And, we do have to complete within a couple of minutes.
Okay, that's completely fine. So, just in a single word, a single sentence, what does practice mean to you?
Perhaps if we could come off of screen share.
Right. That's
There we go.
what does Manoj? What does practice mean to you? Why do you practice? You're on mute.
Manoj, you're on mute still.
Okay.
Go.
Practice is doing something regularly to make it a habit so that you don't have to focus or make effort to do something. It becomes something quite common to you, like you feel hungry and have food. Similarly, some kind of practice that that makes you like you discover yourself, some kind of practice that takes you with it.
And would you say that each practice has been able to give you that feeling that you're reaching out to me? Or have you at times given up on the practice that you think did not, do well?
That's true. Many a time that has happened. But recently, in the beginning of this year, I thought of I have enough. Like for last 54 years, I have been running outside, a journey of outside. Why not take a journey with it? So with that resolve, I have started getting inside me. And as I told you about the 3 Ds, it is basically a kind of romance with your body, romance with your breath, and romance with the third B is your brain or your mind. That's what I do every morning. A bit of meditation, bit of exercising to keep myself fit. And that is travel within to finally get at that moment of serendipity that you talked about. So one day maybe I'll discover myself and know myself for the first time. And once you know yourself, I feel you know everybody, the entire humanity.
Uh, Manjari, what does practice mean to you? You're on mute.
So, sorry. Self-awareness, self-discovery, I would say.
So, is self-awareness the objective of your practice, or do you become self-aware as you practice?
Yes, along the journey, you get your awareness and you discover yourself. Yes.
How would you say self-awareness? How would you say you expect self-awareness to help you?
Practices, I think, of meditation, yoga. That
Right. But what do you think? Do you find yourself self-aware?
um,
Not at the current situation, obviously, but have you ever been in an argument or in a conflict and you've thought to yourself, I am better than this, I am self-aware?
yeah, I've never thought of it like that actually.
Right. That's completely. Vibha, what does practice mean to you?
Practice means to me the gaining of wisdom and the increase in joy in my life as well too. So the more I get wisdom and closer I get to the truth, the happier I'll be.
And what do you expect out of this happiness? Do you want it to give to you relentless amazement and excitement, or is it just a kind of state of mind?
It's kind of state. It's a kind of state. The state of being, which these higher beings have. Yeah.
Right. On this point, Melanie, I would come to your definition of practice, but at this point, I just remembered an advice from Padmasambhava on practice. When you practice mindfully, in this lifetime, you can be happy. In the next, you can be joyful. And this is something that confused me in the beginning because joy and happiness have been synonymous in our lives for quite some time. And to unlearn that synonymity and relearn that it's different, that being happy, it will take me all of the effort, all of the practices, all of the sacrifices, all of the determination. But once I am there, at the state of absolute bliss, it will become a journey of joy eternally for whatever is waiting for me. And that can happen at any given point. And it's not that it will keep happening to you. That state of bliss awaits you at any corner of your journey through storytelling, through the ways that you live, through your work, whatever it is. So that's just something I thought of sharing. Malini, what does practice mean to you?
Well, we talk about, like relative truth and ultimate truth, right? So it's like at this level, it means many things. Practice can be woven into everything, and with the goal of staying awake. Like the word Buddha, right? It being awake, fully awake to our own inner nature and to all that is happening everywhere. But then this goal is freedom, is it's real inner freedom. And this is when the true joy begins, when we can actually stay awake, when we are aware of all of our like mental, our habits, our imprints, we begin to untangle this and get closer and closer to our primordial nature, which is unstained. Then we can be truly awake, and that's where true happiness, true joy that can last and be unchanging as much as we can stay there. So that would be the goal. And in that sense, how can I weave that into every activity, every day, all the time? I mean, even sleep, even dreams, everything. So yeah, practice is many things and is endless. I mean, even Padmasambhava, Guru Rinpoche said, keep your view as high as the sky and your conduct as fine as flower. So he didn't see these two worlds as separate, like one supporting the other. There's no separation whatsoever. So yeah, what you were saying, staying aware, even during conflict, during whatever, during happiness, during extreme exuberance and joy, can we stay awake also and be fully here and available to all that arises with this goodness, what I guess we call morality, also this goodness, constant goodness. So this is the practice for me, because and how can I treat everyone as the guru? How can I treat everyone as also coming and from that primordial nature and being as important as I am, can I do that? Yeah. So thank you.
Thanks. So besides practice, there are two other elements. Now, because this is very personal as to who we find our master, because we are not always very comfortable sharing who we are devoted to. It can be a person, it can be thing, any element of nature, anything that gives us the trust and faith that I can surrender to you. So it's this can, you can take it as a homework if you want to, or you can just absolutely try to determine what it is for you. But these are the two things that I would like for everybody to think once we're done with the session. Who or what is a teacher to you in the storytelling of life? And for the next 10 to 15 days, for each day, I would want everybody to go to this teacher and take at least one profound advice or one profound emotion from this teacher. For the coming 10 to 15 days, try to do it every day. If not possible, try to do it as soon as possible. I didn't say as soon as possible. Sorry, as many times as possible. In the coming 10. I would love to close the session because we're already running a tad bit late. There are other people waiting to start theirs. I would like to close this session in terms of, presenting gratitude to our ancestry, to the patterns that we have followed, and the person that those lineages have created. So each one of us, we belong to one singular lineage, which is the human seeking liberation. No matter if you are truthfully aware of the fact that your body and your soul are seeking liberation, but each one of us, we belong to the lineage of humans who are seeking liberation. Please hold your hands in. This is a prayer in gratitude to the ones who have brought me here, and the ones who will take me forward. I understand and nurture the idea that none of you are different. Your guidance, in any way, shape, or form, do not adhere to the consequences of my action. What I choose to do is expected of me with time. I do it for the sake of my own liberation and the lessons that are perfect for me. I do not blame you for anything that has happened to me in the past, and I have my entire faith devoted to you, my ancestors, people of my lineage, that where you will take is where I need to be. I'm grateful for this existence, and I'm grateful for what this existence has been unfolding, nature of my life. We're done with today's session, and if feel free to let me know in the chat box if you would like to reflect upon this with me. I would really appreciate it. Everybody could put their email IDs before we scatter, because I have a personal newsletter which is absolutely free. I would just put you on that newsletter that has my findings on it. I send it to everyone each month. It has poetry, it has findings, it gives you access to all the workshops that I do. It would really be awesome if everybody could add their email ID, because at the end of this workshop, I'll be sending you an email as well and collecting your reflections from the workshop, if at all it has helped you, or if at all there's anything more that you want to do with the methods that I
Okay, I believe we've come to the end of the session. I'll stop